All right, Chief, could you tell us what happened? Well, first your name and
I'm Chief Justice. I'm the fire chief in Madison Township.
can you tell us what happened this morning? What time this happened?
We were dispatched at 6:48 for a report of a house that had exploded. I was the first arriving unit on the scene. When I arrived, I encountered a fire coming from the center of the structure, out the roof, and a male in the front yard that had been burned extensively. We initiated fire attack upon the arrival of Mifflin's first engine company. And when Mifflin brought their first medic unit, we started caring for the male who had been burned. His wife was across the street at a residence. She was not injured. After we had begun firefighting, there was a secondary explosion. 3 firefighters were injured with debris that had, like shrapnel debris. They were sent to the hospital by Madison medic units and Mansfield medic units. And then we called for additional tankers from multiple departments around the area.
You know how many different firefighter units responded, Chief?
I don't have the exact number. I can tell you the names. It was Mifflin, Mansfield, Madison, Monroe, Mifflin Township over in Ashland County, Washington Township, and Savannah fire departments.
How much more difficult was it? Obviously, looking around, this is not an area with a lot of fire hydrants, so obviously.
So we had to tank the water in. That's what the majority of those departments brought, were tankers to bring water to us.
Any idea what caused either explosion at this point?
We believe a propane cylinder went off inside the residence and caused the initial explosion. And based upon the presence of multiple propane containers in the garage, we believe the secondary explosion was also as a result of a propane tank.
These like propane tanks you use for an outdoor grill, or is this for a welding business?
They were 100-pound propane tanks, so they were of substantial size. We're not exactly sure why they were in the garage, but we are aware there was at least 3 to 4 of them.
Any idea of the condition of the 3 firefighters that were injured?
One firefighter has quite a bit of traumatic injuries to his hands, and he's been sent to Columbus. The other 2 have minor injuries, and they're being treated.
Could you give us the injuries on the male that was inside the house?
The male that's inside the house has extensive burn injuries from his head all the way to his waist. I think the estimate was 30 to 40% of his body is burned.
And he's in serious condition?
He's in serious condition.
Is he still in Mansfield, or is he?
He was being transported. We're not exactly sure where he went, but we do know that Mansfield was going to send him by helicopter to a burn center.
About how many firefighters total were out here today?
About 35.
And I see everything from the state fire marshal's office to somebody with a shirt that says ATF.
Yeah, I contacted the Ohio State Fire Marshal's office initially as soon as the secondary explosion occurred for them to do the investigation and document the scene.
Now this is Mifflin Township, but you were the first one to get here. Do you live closer than
No,
Mifflin?
I'm a full-time chief.
Okay.
I was at my office when the call come in, and I just happened to be able to get here quickest.
When you pulled up and you guys started your initial, and I mean, how bad was the fire at that point?
So at the point that I arrived and we started the initial attack, the fire had vented itself through the roof of the structure and was about 20 feet in the air of flames.
And the firefighters that were injured, where were they at when the second?
So none of them
explosion
were immediately next to the structure. 2 of them were out here by the road. One was on the south side of the structure on a hose line fighting fire.
So that threw material a pretty good distance. How far do you think that was?
In fact, there is a cylinder in a front yard about 250 feet from the structure that was thrown when it occurred.
And neither neighboring house damage, it looks like?
This house here does have damage on the siding where it's melted. It also has a 2x4 that was thrown through the wall.
Was there any kind of a business operating from inside?
We
this
don't
house?
know. We don't know at this point. And because of the condition of the male occupant, we're not real sure what was going on in there.
How many tanks did you find inside the residence?
I know for a fact we found 3 large 100-pound propane cylinders and acetylene tanks as well.
Can you talk about?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can you talk about how you approach a scene when you're not sure if there's going to be more explosions?
Well, you just do your best to stay back as far as you can and be diagonal from the structure. Hopefully, maybe that if it blows, it'll blow directly out the wall and not come at you diagonally.
Did it make a difference? Did you guys know there was nobody inside the house?
We did. I spoke with the occupant and the owners when I arrived initially, and they told me right away that they were both out.
Degree of safety to have that kind of propane tanks and acetylene tanks inside a residence.
Well, it's unusual for people to have those size tanks and that much in a building, but like I said, we're not sure what the purpose was or why they were in there.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay.
Thank
You guys
you,
have
sir.
a good day.
Appreciate it.